Woo! Hey, good evening, folks. It's Friday night, St. Pat's. This is the devlog for the evening. I haven't done a devlog a little bit just because I've been doing those battle reports. That's been very exciting. Just finished the 3-player battle report, Soldier versus Omen Seer versus Ninja. I surprised myself in that game. Um, you should definitely go watch it. It was quite tense, especially at the end. One of the characters, I won't say who, but one of the characters, they started to snowball. They snowballed real hard. They got some good cards. It would have been a terror to be sitting on the other side of them, but it would have been so fun to be the person playing them. And granted, I was doing both, but I think there's something really different about a developer playing their product versus a player who did not design the game, getting to just enjoy it. And I think tonight that's actually what I wanted to talk about is the distinct difference between someone who works on a game and someone who plays a game, because I'm not sure that's talked about too much. A great example that sometimes comes up for me is, and mind you, these are just all my own opinions off the cuff. This is not at all a 100% correct, proven, this works every time thing. This isn't necessarily fact. It is my anecdotal personal experience. But I've noticed, just like music, there is a difference between the people who play the music or play the game and the people who compose it or write it. The way that it's thought about is often quite different. The way it's engaged with is usually pretty different too. And often there's a disconnect. And something that I wish happened more often was that the people who developed the game, including my own, people who developed games, spent more time playing them. I think developers, we often have a vision and we're chasing the vision. Or if it's a bigger studio, we're chasing someone else's vision and somehow trying to find a way to put our own in. Give it that little unique spin that makes us wake up in the morning, and at least makes me wake up in the morning and go, ooh, yay, I like doing this. This is what I love to do. This is why I'm doing this. Our thumbprint. And on bigger games, sometimes that thumbprint is just a sprint. We can just do so many projects at a time. But sometimes we can sit there and really get to enjoy the product, really get to play it. But most importantly, not just playing it with ourselves or playing it with other developers, but there's a certain level of willingness that I often see lacking, and an area that can grow, of developers playing with fans. I know that's a scary statement. Developers playing with fans. Fans hate everything they love. If you make something really exciting and wonderful, you're going to have a bajillion people who are also unhappy at the same time. And you can't please everybody. And that's okay. And I think people who love something and want to engage with it for fun, who expect it to be perfect for them, often forget that they're not the only one playing it. That's not every single person who plays the game, whatever the game is, whatever the project is. So I want to encourage myself, as well as others, to play with the people who are interested in your game. And this isn't about feedback or being scared of how people act. This is about watching and seeing, how do people who aren't writing the music play the music? And you don't correct them. Just sit and play and let them tell you how to play your game. You're going to learn really quickly what people actually think your game is very fast. I've had so many times where I write something, I set it down, and this is the same I find regardless of what the medium is. Like, I've made really terrible, low budget, horrible video games. Horrible. I will never, ever, ever tell people about them because they were college courses and they were bad. But um, I'd ask a friend in class to play it, and they would immediately tell me what they thought the game was and start playing it. And I would realize very quickly that the game that they saw that they wanted to play was not at all what I had spent the last several weeks working on, in my mind. And I think that disparity of vision was really cleared up by having people besides me sit down and look at it and engage with it and engage with me over it. Like when I wrote music, some of the things that I'd find was you can't write the swing into it. You got to just kind of be there with them, especially for swing. You could tell them to syncopate it. You could tell them to put it in the pocket, ahead of the pocket, behind the pocket. But it's more about seeing how they do it and seeing if it matches your vision. And then how do you better communicate the vision? So with a game like Kill Count, I'm always looking to play it more because I am not the smartest kill count player. I'm not. I'm the designer. That doesn't mean I'm ever going to be the smartest player. Players are going to come up with combos that are going to let me know just how broken and terribly designed my game is within probably a month of it being fully done, if it's ever fully done. Could just live on my shelf forever, just something that I do for fun that's never actually a game published. You're allowed to do that. Make music for yourself, make games for yourself to, as I always like to say, this is a game you can play with your friends. Kill Count. It's a game you can play with your friends. It's not a product. Anyways, I've been learning a lot from Kill Count. And I've been learning a lot from people who point out the obvious problems, obvious to them. And I've been learning a lot from other game designers who, when I sit down with them as their player, I notice things. And the things that I notice are unexpected. And what I'm learning there is not how to tear their game apart, but how to communicate the vision I'm seeing and to be curious about their vision, to be curious about what the developer is hoping, dreaming, desperately craving recognition of. Like for me, I want this game to be for people who enjoy a little bit of complexity, but they're like me. In the I'm too dumb to build my own deck for most trading card games. I can't do it. But I really love to play the deck once it's built. So I need a friend, or I need the beauty of the internet to help me learn. But once I've got it, I can learn how to use that, and I can get really good at using that thing. So with this, I want people to show me what's cool about it. I want to see what's cool about it by watching people play it. I want it to be something that people can jump in within 5 minutes and be playing a really fun game and be having a tense experience. And also, if I look this way, it's because the board is right here. Here we go. I want someone to have a cool mini that's sitting on their shelf gathering dust that they can just be like, I could play with that for 30 minutes. That sounds nice. Anywho, let's talk rules. We've made some updates to the rules. I put them in the Discord. One of the updates is how action points works. Action points, the way they were written, you might have noticed in my 2-player battle report from yesterday, I made a mistake. The mistake was I had been having people pay for the action points at the end, and it was the number of times you'd performed. So if you did an action at the end, well, you've done one action. Great. How many times you performed the action? Once. Before you performed it? 0. So it was actually free because of the way it was worded. It was a clever loophole I wrote in that I did not mean to put in there. So you could move, you could do the same action twice, regardless of what that action was, and still have an action point remaining. And the whole point of the action point economy is so that if you do the same action twice, that's your turn. Or you could do three other things, three separate individual things: move, attack, burn, or equip, or dust, whatever. Which, by the way, I keep saying the word burn. I mean dust. My brain is relearning. I was calling it burning for a while, and I'm wanting to try dusting for a while because dusting feels kind of accurate. Burning feels a bit more cool than dusting, though, so we'll see. We'll see if it comes back. So that's action points. Action points have now changed that it is the first time you perform the action, it's one action point. You pay the action point, you get to perform it. Second time is 2, and so on. So unless you have a rule, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, this is not in the game yet, but it could be. If you have a rule that gave you extra action points, gave you more action points, you can only do the same action twice on your turn. Now, you can still pass at any time. That's fine. So hopefully that will clear things up. And the most up-to-date rule is in the 1-page rules document up on the first page of 3.75, not the sweaty section where I am digging into things and trying to make it more like a technical document. But the first part, the first page is where those new rules are that are written in a very like layman style, because I really want it to be like conversational rules that make sense. Like I said before, to explain to your friend who's played Ticket to Ride, how do you play this game? I made a little bit of an adjustment to how equipment depots work, and you saw that play out if you watched the 3-player game. You can gain cards from more than one equipment depot at a time. I think because of the way that power is now accrued through cards, that's no longer broken. Back when power was accrued via movement, that was no work. That did not work well. But now that every time you move, you're not gaining power, you're only gaining power if you dust, then that's fine. It's totally fine to get extra cards. And you have a hand limit anyways, and there's all these limits in the game already, so it's fine. You can only use the same, what words? You can only use a specific equipment depot once per your turn. So I could move from point A to equipment depot B and get a card, and then to equipment depot C and get a card. But then I couldn't go back to equipment depot B, even if I had the movement, and get a third card. I can't do it off the same one on the same turn. And then I think those are really like the pivotal changes, is how AP works, how that equipment depots work. But yeah, I think that's about it for tonight. Let's see here. We're at 13 minutes. We don't want to go too late. I'm wanting to try and get these devlogs a little shorter if I can. If they go long, they go long. But I don't want to be much more than 15 minutes when I can. So I've got water in my mug, and I wish you all a wonderful holiday if you're celebrating. And if you are out having a lovely drink or something, have one for me. Give me some cheers. And I hope to have you play the game soon, and hope to hear from you soon. Toodles.